Well, hello guys, my name's Calamity of Joe. Welcome back to another episode of Forfeit Fifa. Congratulations, you've successfully claimed some random players that I don't know what the hell you're fin on about. Who have we got? Guys, anybody know what any of these are? Cool. What the fuck does that mean, guys? I don't know. It's never done that before to me. Have we got Peter Crouch in the team or something? Like, what's that for? Hello, Mikados. Welcome to the stream. What the hell happened there? We haven't got Peter Crouch in the team, so... right. Let's just get into it and play a game, shall we? Let's just get into this and play a game of FIFA. We've got a game against Bournemouth coming up, and we've started pretty well, so let's get into it. Piss. Right, Alcaraz we're going to have to sell because he won't renew a new contract. So, we don't have a left back. But I suppose we spent 90 million. We spent 93 million on getting Trent Alexander-Arnold in as a joke. And I think he might be quite good for us. I'd love for him to score against Liverpool after the way they treated him. All eyes on one man, Tiano Barry. 3 goals scored in his last match. Where's my telly remote? I wanted to turn the TV down a little bit, but I... where the hell have I put that then? Hello and welcome to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Hill Dickinson. I hate the name Hill Dickinson. My name is Derek Ray, and ready with a tactics board to provide all the analysis is Stuart Robson. Let's get in there and play. So who's... we're playing like 4 at the back. We can talk about coaches and their methods, but it's now down to the players. Which ones are going to stand out, who will affect the game, and who will have the greater desire. Oh, bollocks. It should be a cracking game, though. Well, here is the lineup for the hosts today. Well, yeah, it says we can play him as a right midfielder. I might do that, because I might do that because Jake O'Brien can also play right back. Oh.
Victorious when last they played against Southampton. What do you expect to see this time, Stuart? Well, what a performance that was away from home. It doesn't get... oh, look at this, they must score! And the keeper there to deal with it.
Blink twice if you're in danger.
Well, he really is danger personified, but in this game, Stuart... oh, in with a chance!
He is danger personified. I'm just going to look around for 2 secs, guys. I'm trying to find my telly remote.
Well, here it is again, and the pace in which they break forward is devastating. It's so hard to defend against, but in the end, it's far too easy to create the 2v1 against the keeper. What were the defenders trying to do? Nice.
Oh God, I found it. I left it in my bed. (4-4-2), yeah, well, we don't have another striker right now. 4-4-2 will work. Everton used to do... Everton under Ancelotti did really well with a 4-4-2. Carlo Ancelotti played 4-4-2 at Everton with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison up front, and the two of them were really good together. De Kellaere gets the ball. Straight to Barry! Oh, ho, 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 ho. 5 goals, 5 games, 9 goals. I really like a four. I really, yeah, 4-4-2, two strikers up there. I think I've wanted to see Moyes do that this season with just with Barry and Beto. Not lineup. Yeah, 4-4-2 formation. I've always wanted to see no, 4-4-2 is just a lineup. 4-4-2 is a lineup. 4 in the back, 4 in midfield, 2 up front. Are you playing? No, I'm playing. This isn't a real match. Old school, 4-4-2. Old school, two tall strikers. Guys, have you ever heard of have you guys ever heard of Dixie Dean? Played for Everton in the 1930s. 60 goals. Yeah. Like, one should be small, one should be physical. That's a good idea. Barry's doing well at the moment, but is that because obviously we're playing with him? But my focus is every time that I get the ball, my aim is to try and get that ball to him. Unfortunately, Kelleher didn't get there. I love old school though. I love old school football, guys. I love old school football. Yeah, I love old school football when, it's just men going against each other, like, loads of good tackles, sticking the tackles in. That's what Everton have always been. Everton historically have always been the team, with fight that's. He's got the hat trick by the rarest of circumstances. I want to see that again. 10 goals, 5 games. Obviously, he scored a hat trick in the last game. He's got a hat trick here. He's just sprinted, and that guy's just he's really kicked it straight into him. It's his knee. It's hit his knee and gone. He's hit his kneecap and gone in. On the 45th minute, we lead 3-0. That's good. We're playing very good football this season. Yeah, Everton played Burnley tomorrow. I was really pissed off against Arsenal the other day. Everton played Arsenal the other day, and Arsenal had a pen, which was Arsenal won that game by a penalty, but Everton should have had a penalty as well. Everton should have had a penalty as well, because the Arsenal player totally missed the ball and kicked Tiano Barry in the box. So that should have been a penalty, but VAR said it wasn't sufficient contact, but he was left on the floor holding his knee. So bloody hell, he fetched him. Eliminator. Oh, good save. I love Carl. Yeah, I love Carlo. I really liked him at Everton, and it was gutting that he just upped and left. But you're not going to turn down Real Madrid, are you? He had a bit of a pop at the players apparently, because obviously they had a real bad game. Reportedly, he had a pop at the players. No, we don't need robot refs. We need VAR to stop interfering. We don't need robot refs. What we've needed with football for the last few years. Yeah, what was I going to say? I don't think we need robot refs. The problem with VAR is that VAR gets involved when it doesn't need to, and then when it should get involved, it doesn't. VAR gets involved when it has no preference to get involved. So, for example, as an Everton fan, yeah, I think as an Everton fan, VAR gets involved when it shouldn't. So a few years ago, Alan got sent off, and a few years ago, Moise Kean pisses me off. He played for Everton for 3 years. He didn't try. Moise Kean pisses me off because he's turned pretty good now, hasn't he? When he was 19, he signed for Everton. He scored 2 goals, but he never tried. In an Everton shirt, he never tried. Yeah, Moise Kean pisses me off. When he played for Everton, he never tried. Well, it's not really inconsistent. They don't stop the clock. They don't stop the clock. No, they have a clock. They have a clock inside that tells you it. It's not inconsistent. There used to be less extra time, but now they penalise everything. They penalise every little bit of time wasting. They penalise every bit of time wasting. It's because of extra time. More about stoppage time on stoppage time. Yeah, what it is, Jackson, is with stoppage time, it changed into 5 subs, added more time, so it's 30 seconds a sub. It's always been 30 seconds a sub, so normally it was 3 minutes. Yeah, it used to be 3 minutes. It used to be 3 minutes, and now they've changed it. It used to be 3 minutes, and now they've added 5. They add that adds on every team 30 seconds. That's a minute. Now they've added 5. That's another minute each time. So that turns it into 5 minutes at least, with the subs. But I said extra time. They don't stop that. They only stop the clock in rare ones. They only stop the clock in rare ones. It's only rare they stop the clock, but they stops the clock when Yeah, that's America though. Like. In college time, but that's college though. Like college sports though is a little bit different because that's, even though it's classed as professional, it's technically college. Whereas like all colleges in the UK have their own league, but it's not seen as like official sport. Like it's the same as You know, rules are different. Rules are different. Like, we've got to play Rotherham. That's not Rotherham's badge. Unless they've changed their badge. Well, I'm not aware they have. Yeah, in the UK, college leagues aren't thinged as official leagues. But in America, they're thinged as official, which is kind of weird. Right, I'm going to sim this. I'm going to sim this EFL Cup match. We have to win the EFL Cup or we've got to do another forfeit at the end of the season. So we have to keep a tab on how we do. Jesus Christ, Rotherham are tearing us apart. Since when did they become prime Barcelona? But it's like, it's like extra time. Stoppage time in football has been changed. It was changed in the last World Cup for more and more time. De Gea's been a good keeper for us so far, but you know he is going down in overall. Like we signed him just because we needed a goalkeeper. Yeah, college players shouldn't be paid though because it's college. But personally, I think footballers are on too much money now. I think footballers now are on a little bit too much money. I think footballers are on too much money now. Like, did you guys? I've got to go to sleep now. That's all right. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys know how much who the highest paid football player was 20 years ago? The highest paid football player 20 years ago was David Beckham. And he was on £89,000 a week. 20 years later, most of your regular first team Premier League players are on that. Yeah, it was David Beckham. David Beckham was on £89,000 a week. There is too much money now. It's become America. This is egged on by America. America treats their football teams as their football as businesses. Like what Skate Punk said on day before stream. Boxing is the business at the end of the day, but it's not. Boxing is a sport, but America treats all their sports as businesses rather than sports, which is why football teams and players nowadays don't want to play unless they're on a certain amount of money. Like for example, 30 years ago, if you wanted to play you just wanted to play football, so you'd play for the smallest team. Now a lot of teams in the UK have had to cut because they can't get the players, because if they don't make it professional, they don't want to play. Yeah, we've got a lot of teams in this country that are non-league. Like for example, my dad played grassroots football. Guys, and ironically, he once played. There was a point when he was playing a team further up. So my dad played. Joe, how are you? I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's hurting the game. Well, players have always been able to transfer. Players have been able to transfer since the 1880s. In football, but players now want ridiculous amounts of money. You're shit defending. Yeah, I just can't defend. I can't defend. I can't defend because I go in for the tackle, and they get the ball. They take the ball away too quickly. I'm shit at defending. Yes, it's not my fault though. It's those defenders that can't communicate. He's offside. Players have always been able to transfer in like footballs onto America, US and American football. Yeah, I think America though treats it all as businesses though. America's problem is they treat sports like businesses rather than sports. Some people play because of the love of the game, but most of them now play because of the money, because of the amount of money that they get. Transfer portal. Yeah. I think it's because America have always treated their sports like businesses, whereas the rest of the world just treat their sports as sports. I love sports. I love football, but I would never have made it as a professional. I love football, but I would never have made it as a professional. A, because I'm short-ish, and A, because I'm fat. But tell you what, guys. Tell you what. Here's a good one for you. Here's a really good one for you. I didn't click anything then. But it's hard to remember. It is. But there should be very much a question at the moment. Are sports stars on too much money? I think there should be a cap. I think there should be a cap in the UK on sports wages. I think there should be a cap in the UK on sports wages and everywhere. I don't think athletes. Shit. I don't think athletes should be on over 200 grand a week. But yeah, you aren't wrong. Like they're talking about that at the moment. You know, there's people in the UK that can't pay their bills, but sports teams can pay £100,000 for players. Well, like Manchester City a few years ago brought Jack Grealish for £100 million. It was an incredible moment. There was an incredible light thing that came out where a football fan said, you shouldn't have poor people on the streets of the UK, and then football players being bought for £100 million. Which the guy was 100% right. I think we've lost. We'll have one more chance, of course, but I can't see us getting the ball back. I didn't even mean to pass. I didn't want to pass to him. He got the ball. Come on, pick the ball. I can't pick the ball up because I can't work out. I'm not little. I'm not little, guys. I'm anything bar little. Oh my fucking hell. Well, we got to do a forfeit, guys. We got to do a forfeit. What? Yeah, I don't think we're going to score in like seconds. There we go. We've lost. We didn't win the Carabao Cup. But yeah, sport, that is America's fault though. America turning sports into thing. Yeah. But that's the thing though, like Barcelona are a really good example there actually. Barcelona overspent and are billions and billions and billions of pounds in debt. Barcelona are absolutely billions of pounds in debt. So they were paying Messi 2.5 million pound a week. Messi only had to leave Barcelona because they couldn't afford to pay him. Your offer is to buy an 85 rated striker and play 4-4-2. We can do that one in this save. No, but that's what people in the UK... The difference between America and the UK, though, is that America's very much more the collective, you know, never leave a man behind. Whereas America's very much more about individual success. Let's just sim this Leicester game. It's going to be a 2-1 win. Oh, it was 3-1. Dewsbury Hall, Kellerton and Die. We'll play whatever the next one is. Could be Liverpool, actually. No, it's Aston Villa. We're second. Oh, all right then. No, that is the forfeit. You have to buy an 85 rated striker and play 4-4-2. I can't buy one right now though because we're not in the transfer window. This is the end of October. We're in October, so the transfer window's closed. But we can do that. We can do that in January. What I mean, Jackson, is like that's a very American response, if you get what I mean. The UK pretty much don't like that there's homeless people. But it's a really interesting one, really, where the world, America's more about individual success, where the UK is about like never leave a man behind, the collective. Yeah. D3, Division 3. Oh, we came close. Yeah, I love football, guys, but it is a justified thing though. Is the wages getting too much? So, 30 years ago, the highest paid transfer was £3 million. Now it's the highest paid transfer 30 years ago was £3 million. Because I wonder the gap. What? The gap between Europe and American football, soccer, it's huge. But how huge? I think that's already been proven. To be honest, I think that got proven at the Club World Cup, which I didn't agree with the Club World Cup. The Club World Cup is every week. The Club World Cup should be every year because it always was. Whoever won the Champions League went against whoever won the Carabao Cup. Sorry, whoever won the Champions League went against the team that won the other division, the other Championship League divisions. And then the Club World Cup was turned into a World Cup for every 4 years, which is wrong. And then they tried to turn around and say that Real Madrid had never won it. But they had won it 4 times. Or 5 times. Because the Club World Cup started in 2000. And there have been 22 of them, I think. There have been 22 of them. And then for them to turn around and say, oh, sorry, none of those are official. No one likes the FIFA president. The guy that's FIFA president, everybody is starting to hate him because he doesn't care about football. He cares about the money that football can make. Oh, good. That's a good goal. Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, we either play like a top 8 club, or we even played with Saudi Arabia. We were even with Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi Arabia aren't a very good team. Saudi Arabia aren't a very good team. They just had a shock win at the last World Cup. Like Morocco, for example. Somebody in my stream the other week asked me, look, what did I think about Morocco? About Morocco at the next World Cup, and I said I'll be interested to see what Morocco do, because I'm convinced that Morocco was just a fluke. I'm convinced that Morocco at the last World Cup was just a fluke. I'm convinced that Morocco was just a fluke at the last World Cup. That they caught everybody by surprise. Oh my God, Barry. Do you guys get what I mean? That I'm convinced at the last one. In youth levels, yeah. But America isn't a very good team at football. America has never been very good, because America never took it seriously. The MLS was created because FIFA said to America, why should you host the World Cup if you don't even have a football league? The only reason America created the MLS because they turned around and said you can't have a World Cup without a football league. So they put together the MLS, which the MLS was put together. And to this day, nobody in Europe likes the MLS because they think it's just a cash grab one. And if they are right, and they are right, whoever's in the MLS is guaranteed to be in the MLS. Whoever's in the MLS is guaranteed to be there. They've got guaranteed prize money. They've got guaranteed prize money. They're not guaranteed to get relegated. In the Premier League, the higher up the table you finish, the more money you get. Yeah. America will have good players because football's starting to be promoted more there now. But America never took it seriously because it's not really America's national sport. America's national sport has always been basketball and baseball. America's national sport has always been baseball. But there's not many other countries that play baseball. They're all popular in the UK. They're just not. Yeah. The problem with the under-20s teams, though, most of the players that are under 20 that are good go with the first team, go with the men's teams. The problem with teams in Europe, most of the under-20s teams, most of their really good players are already that good. They've been brought in. Like Kylian Mbappe was playing for France when he was 18. Anybody else? Like Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham was 17 when he went to the Euros of 2017. Do you guys get what I mean? Yeah, I love football, guys, but the money is just the money is ridiculous now. But based on what you commented, Jackson, like the gap between the MLS and the Premier League was proven. The gap between the MLS and European football was proven in the Club World Cup. PSG played Inter Miami, and Inter Miami didn't have a shot on goal in Inter Miami spent 80 minutes defending their own box. They spent 80 minutes defending their own box, which that was the gap. PSG were 4-0 up, and PSG even stopped playing, really. PSG pretty much stopped playing. They should have been they could have been 8-0 up in the first half. I think that was proven in the Club World Cup about the difference. I think it's one of those though. If you're a really good American player, you don't want to play in the MLS. You want to go to the European. You want to go to Europe, where that's where the biggest. There was an NSW game this year with combined 0 expected goals. Bloody it was. I mean, Everton have had a game with 0 expected goals. Like Everton, I'm really worried about at the moment. They've lost 2 players to AFCON. They've got a load of injuries, so most of the best players are out injured. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, he's been getting goals for fun recently with Everton. He's got injured. They've lost this guy here, who's generally playing for me in the game. They've lost Illiman and Dye. Come on. Give him a yellow, ref. Who's this ref? Give him a yellow. Why didn't he give him a yellow? Actually, I'm going to try. I'm going to give Trent Alexander-Arnold a chance. Oh. Where did all my comments go? I don't know. They're still there. I think they're just further up the page. We're playing well. Oh, the crack guy. A match request. Oh, you can't do that you can't do it on Switch. If you don't have Switch, Switch isn't crossplay on FIFA, I'm afraid. Right, we're doing all right, guys. We just need to win this match. Good. Drawing coming. It's the 85th minute, and it's a Premier League match. You never know what's going to happen. The amount of late goals there's been in games. Like Everton last season was 2-0 up till the 87th minute, and then Brentford scored 3. Everton last season were 2-0 up till the 87th minute, and Bournemouth, scored 3 goals in a. Bournemouth scored 3 goals in 7 minutes. And then it happens the week later against Aston Villa. Everton were 2-0 up in the first half, and then on the 70th minute they were 3-2 down. Which... Good save, come on. You never know. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and I'm fat and I'm not singing because I'm not a lady. Yes, it's 3-0. Because we couldn't do we couldn't break on the counter, but a 3-3 draw is fine. It's a point. Some people moan about draws. I don't. A point's a point. I never game unbeaten. Youth team tournaments are actually always quite goal fest because a lot of them are young and trying to prove themselves. Tell you what, there is something funny I do like seeing about youth football. When you see youth football, it's funny because you've got kids that are like 15. Some of them have gone through puberty and some of them haven't. So you've got teams of where you got someone that's like 5'2" there. You've got another person that's 6'5" there. And it's just really odd. Like it's just really bizarre. But then of course, because they're like, you know, you've got players that are like 15. We're second, Arsenal are third. And we're going to play Arsenal next. This shall be a fun match. I don't know why I'm clapping. But it's really funny seeing that, like, football matches. Guys, what's the shortest football player you've ever seen? What's the shortest football player you've ever seen, guys? Play for a club. With your own eyes. Literally, Everton once had a player that was 5'3". He didn't score that many goals. The game doesn't even start. Bloody hell. Yeah, what's the smallest football player you guys have ever seen? The smallest football player I've ever seen was a guy that played for Everton. He was 5'3". Which was a very odd. He didn't score a lot of goals, but I don't think anyone expected him to. Fucking Alan, what are you doing there? Yeah, the player's name was who scored a header. Yeah, he scored a Bernard. He scored a header, and they were all taking the piss. The commentators were taking the piss, saying I was a 5'3" person met a header next to someone who's 6'5". Which, yeah, I remember that. I remember mentioning that on stream. That's just bizarre. That was just bizarre. Oh! Great! That's a great goal from that angle. Look at that. Cross comes in. Barrett saved. And I don't even know who scored. I don't even know who's in goal for Maigan. I think it is. I think it said. Yeah, he's just palmed it into his own net. That's not a moment the keeper would like to see again, I don't think. Yeah, you kicked that out. Oh. Throw in. Own goal, yeah. Great own goal. What's the best own goal you guys have ever seen? I think the best own goal I've ever seen was Sergio Reguilon for Tottenham. The guy scored an own goal from about 30 yards. He's gone to splice it forward and he's inadvertently spliced it 30 yards behind him in the net. What's the best goal everyone's ever seen, actually? What's the best football goal everyone's ever seen? I can tell you guys one of mine. I've got two that comes to mind. Two of the goals that I've seen that obviously pops to mind is Ibrahimovic versus England, the 30-yard bicycle kick. McNeil normally is our corner taker. Let's change to Alexander-Arnold a minute, see what he can do. Yeah, the best, but then my favourite goal that I've seen of all time is Gylfi Sigurdsson versus Hajduk Split. Gylfi Sigurdsson was playing for that's my favourite Everton goal. You play football? It's my favourite. Yeah, I'm playing FIFA. My favourite Everton goal that I've ever seen was Gylfi Sigurdsson versus Hajduk Split. I saw that live. I saw it live on TV when it was aired. Gylfi Sigurdsson closes down somebody, and the ball goes up into the air, and he goes and scores a volley from 50 yards. It's one of my favourite goals of all time. He scores Everton was 1-1. It was 1-1. Everton had won the first leg 2-1. No, it was 1. They were losing 1-0. Everton had won the first leg in this Europa playoff 3-0. Yeah, I love a good goal from the halfway line. Oh, that's another goal I can think of. This is similar. This goal I'm talking about is similar. It was from the halfway line. Tell you what, another one I think of, guys. Wayne Rooney versus West Ham. Wayne Rooney come back to Everton in 2017 for a season, and against West Ham he scored a hat-trick, but his third goal happened to be from 60 yards. The ball Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's only just left Everton, chased down the ball, but Joe Hart came out and booted it, and then he smashed it straight to Rooney, Rooney scored from 60 yards. Literally, Joe Hart smashed it to him, and he just took one touch and put it in the net. AI just gave you the ball, did it? Well, it isn't AI. It's the CPU. It's not artificial. It's all This is all programmed to do it. Because video games aren't AI. Every single moment here has been programmed. So, oh come on! I could stream this all night, guys. I could stream this all night for you guys. Perhaps I should stream all night. Perhaps I should stream all night. Perhaps I should stream my last moments of being 22. 3-0. 3-0. I think we're doing really well. I think personally, guys, I think we've built a good team. So Barry Migan own goal. Well, I don't think it should have been an own goal because Garner was on target. It just happened to... What the fuck have I just pressed? I'll tell you what is our next game? Because I'm not aware. We've got 19 points. So at the moment, we've won 6, drew 1, lost 1. We scored 23, conceded 9. I always to net. I always to go into the net on the game when it's scored to kick it in. Yeah, I do sometimes. Our next game is Tottenham. I'm prepared to skip forward a couple of games, guys, to that Everton game. That's all right. My grammar is terrible too. My grammar's terrible, but I was never best. That was not one of my strong suits. That's never been one of my strong suits. Brent third. Hopefully we can win this game. And we lost 2-1. That's not very good. Yeah, my grammar's not been very good ever. 3-1. Jesus Christ, guys. I can't believe I'm 23 tomorrow, guys. In 2 years' time, I'll be 25. 2 years today. 2 years tomorrow, I'll be 25. Yeah. Right, this is the game that we want to play. So, we beat Tottenham 2-0, lost to Brentford, beat Nottingham Forest 3-1 and beat Norwich. Norwich in the Prem, Jesus. Norwich are a good team. Tiano Barry has 20 goals in 12 games. He's beaten Erling Haaland's record of 20 and 14. Just saw USA Mexico. Cool. Oh my god, I got into year. I didn't. If it was on my screen, I didn't see that. So what's my record then? My record was 20... After 49 games, my record was 20 wins. No. After 49 games, my record was 23 wins, 6 draws. After 49 games, my record was 23 wins, 20 draws, 6 losses. So in the last 10 games, we've won 7, drew 1, lost 2. That's pretty good then. Yeah. Last season, we won 18, drew 6, lost 18. This season, we've won 12, drew 1, lost 4. Oh my god, Manals. Right, we've got to go play Liverpool. So if we beat Liverpool, we've got to beat Liverpool by 2-0. By 2 goals. But not 2-0, but we've got to beat them at least by 2 goals. Right, we've had some offers come in quickly. Should we have a look at these offers? It's all these youth players that are reporting. He's 18 and 6'5". Final. Let's just get rid of Alcaraz. Sorry, let's just get rid of Alcaraz. Like we're gonna have to accept anything for him. Basically, he won't renew his contract. Well, I once gambled away 200 million on a 104 rated player. 104 rated player? Look at our team now, guys. We need to replace... we need to get a new left back and possibly a new goalkeeper. But McNeil, Barry and Dye, De Kellater, Garner, Dewsbury Hall, Asnute, O'Brien, Branthwaite. Everybody's in their 80s bar Garner. But Garner will be there soon because Garner's just... amazing. We will consistently... We're going to consistently... But we're also starting to win consistently as well. So that's pretty good then. Guys, it's my birthday tomorrow. Jesus. I can't believe I'm 23 tomorrow. I feel like... I remember turning 18, but I now realise that was 5 years ago tomorrow. 4-3-2 midfield. Yeah, I think we're playing a 4-3-3 at the moment. We're playing a 4-3-3. What a goal. That was a good team goal. I'll always remember Chelsea's owners, Chelsea's new owners, how thick they were when they came in. Chelsea's new owners, when they came in 2023, they set up plans for a 4-4-4 form, a 4-3. They set up things for a 4-4-3 team, and Thomas Tuchel was left at Thomas Tuchel, who Chelsea should still have as their manager because he loved them and they loved him. Thomas Tuchel thought Chelsea's owner was an absolute idiot. Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. I can't remember his name. Todd Bowley. Thomas Tuchel thought he was an absolute idiot. Like, he asked him to make the 4-4-3 formation. He planned out all the players that Chelsea were going to sign, and Thomas Tuchel was left there baffled. Oh my god! Yeah, that one's a good one though. The second one, that one was close. This one was an absolute missile. The ball's come in and he's hit it like an absolute cannon. Off one post into the other. He's hit it like a cannon. That's so close to going wide and it's hit the post and gone in. That's such a good goal. We lead 2-0 against Liverpool. Right, I don't think we're going to... We lead 2-0 up against Liverpool. We now need to... Oh, shoot the bed. He's cut me open like a can of beans there. We can do this. Okay. I need to get a third goal then, because I need to win this game. I went to get the ball and the ball was quicker than I was. That's only a yellow card. He lined him out like a can of beans. The ball moved from right in front of him, so he made the ball with it thing, and then he just absolutely smacked out whoever that was. Guys, did you guys pick up who that was? Who just absolutely got lined out like a can of beans? I totally missed the ball. I didn't expect garbage ref. Yeah, that was a. Yeah, it wasn't even a tackle. He should have got a. He should have stopped being a girl. And die. How much you paid the ref? Oh, Ekatike. Oh, that's good then, because he was close to signing for Everton last January. He was close to signing for Everton last January. Oh, I missed. Hello, Captain Goofy Chris. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Ekatike's just we've knocked the wind out of Ekatike's sails then. It's like what's his name that's playing for Manchester City, Ryan Cherky. Everton wanted to sign him, but Man City signed him in the transfer window. Man City signed him in the mini transfer window before the Club World Cup, and Everton were barred from signing anyone there. That should always just be a warning, to be honest. Yeah, it shouldn't have been a yellow card. But don't worry. We lead 3-1 over Liverpool at Hill Dickinson. Have a wonderful day. I'm leaving now. Goodbye. Have a good rest of your day, Swiss. Dewsbury Hall. After all, you're going to be the one that saves us. You're going to be the one that saves us. As after all, you're our Dewsbury Hall. Illumin Dye gets the ball, cuts through Liverpool's midfield like paper. Which way am I going? Oh, that would have gone. That would have been. That would have rifled the top corner if that hadn't have been. Oh, that was close. Brian almost had his header. There's a certain player here that I would love to get them a goal just because of the way they treated him. Game over already. I want to get a certain... There's people on the pitch. They leave us all over. It is now. There's a Tiano Barry 4. We live Liverpool 4-1. They've lost the league at Hill Dickinson. Come on, yeah. Let's get him a goal. Actually, let's do something bizarre. I've got an idea. No, I've got an idea. He stays 80 rated, so Garner can play right back. Kelleher can move, and then Ndai can go there. Garner is genuinely can play right back. Garner has been playing. If a right back has been injured this season, if O'Brien has had to play centre back this season, Garner's either played there or he's played. If our left back was out, Garner would also play left back. I lost track where the ball was then. Biggest dickhead, CM Derby winning. Oh my god. We're going to get him that goal. That would have been a beautiful counter. One of my favourite games for a counter was Everton Manchester United a few years ago, about 10 years ago. Everton played Man United about 10 years ago and it was 4-4. But the fourth goal was one of the greatest build-ups ever. Literally every player had a touch of the ball. Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk is on the ball. I don't think Van Dijk, I think, is Liverpool's worst player this season. Like, when they played Tottenham the other day, that was his fault that he literally put the ball straight at Richarlison. He's offside, but we can get him a goal. I would love to see if we could get him a goal. I like it. We've got one of Liverpool's former defenders in a wing position. What, he didn't get the goal? He didn't get the ball. He didn't get the goal. But his shot cannon to Barry. His shot cannon to his shot was saved straight into Barry. So technically he's... Well, he was offside anyway. Horrible defence. Yeah, it's Liverpool. Liverpool's defence isn't really good in reality. Liverpool this season have been much more of a... Basically, we'll just outscore you style thing. Like what Man City used to do 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Man City used to be very much a team of, we'll just outscore you then. And basically... That's what Man City did like 10 years ago. Yeah, he's not scoring. Game's over. He didn't score, but he got an assist. Should we do that for now? Should I switch? Should I switch him to? Instead of W performance, yeah. But he kept the referee busy. Well, we'll console him, but he played well. He played the game the way it should be. There was no nimby-pimby-pansy playing. There was playing the way football should be played. Celebrate McNeil's performance. McNeil's better than Wirtz. I actually really like McNeil in real life. A guy who watches my streams who's a Never Everton fan said, "Oh, we should get rid of McNeil. He's shit." McNeil's hardly played this season. And he spent most of last season injured. Last season, he had 3 goals in 4 games. Before he got injured. There we go. So, should we look at our record? Should I look at my managerial record right now? What's my biggest win? Oh, my biggest win was 9-0 versus Villa. But I found that after playing that game, I found out after playing that game. Yes, I was eating them. I'm still eating them. There's like a whole. It's a tub. It's a huge tub, guys, and the tub is literally bigger than my hand. Literally, the tub is big enough for both of my hands to fit to go around them. The tub is huge. As it stands at the moment, though, we're second. We could actually pull a surprise. What year is it? It's 2026 in this game. It's December 26. No, I don't think I'm going to finish it by the end of today. I think I want to sim this one for now. I think we'll sim this one for now, just see what happens. And we'll only go in if we need to. I'm just going to close my blinds, guys. My curtains, guys. It's getting a bit dark. Basically, it's still sunny, but my room's starting to become dark. So I'm going to turn the lights on. Come on. Let's play. Oh, cramp. I don't want... Oh, he's not playing. I was about to say I didn't want Gordon to score. And Pickford's in goal for Newcastle. We're going in. We're going in. Come on. Come on, we're going in. You. If in doubt, boot it the fuck out. Oh my god. We weren't that far off then. I'm trying to get this remote to work. But this remote's awful, guys. So you press the cross button to... It's popped up saying, did I want to turn this screen off? And it's just not worked at all. Trying to chip Pickford. Well, that's what Pickford said to Richarlison a few weeks ago. Why didn't you... Richarlison... Pickford kept out Richarlison a few weeks ago in the Merseyside... in a game against Tottenham. And it's the Merseyside derby. Pickford... in a game against Tottenham, that's what Pickford said to Richarlison after the match. Like, why didn't you chip me? Because if he'd have chipped him, he'd have scored. Fair play to Pickford though for saying that to Richarlison. You know, not many people would tell a friend on an opposition team like, why ask him that? Like, why didn't you chip me? We've actually done really well defensively with our buying in De Gea as a keeper because that's because I mentioned Richarlison just now. Because we sold Pickford, we brought in a good keeper. Like I fucking say that. Not when I'm saying that. And it had to be fucking Isak, didn't it? Not when I'm saying that. About how good our keeper was. Oh, it didn't stand. Oh, it didn't stand. I thought they'd scored. Honestly, I thought Newcastle had scored. That's a good fit. That's a good finish, mind. That's a good finish. Right. We lead 2-0. In our game, guys, we lead 2-0. We lead 2-0 in this match. Right, let's get a third goal, shall we? Just to really cushion this match. That's not a pen. He saved it. Come on, De Gea. I was about to say nice clean sheet and then... Saka is a good right back. I do actually really... Right, we won 2-1, but that was a bummer. Like, I actually thought... I made that joke about... how I thought we made a really good deal by signing De Gea. And then I thought they'd scored. Was that Saka? No, it was Isak. That was it. I said about how good our keeper was, and then obviously I thought they'd scored. Turns out it was ruled out. I didn't see the ball get ruled out, so I thought it was a goal. I'm not a boy. How many times are you going to go through this? What? I'm a bit confused where that's come from. Oh. Oh, I didn't see Swiss's comment. I didn't see Swiss's comment there. I didn't see Swiss's comment. I do apologise. So I was so confused. Oh my god, my nostrils are sore. How many people have watched this stream so far? I don't know. 102. 102. James Gunn had a bad at the office and judging by 0 key passes. Well, it's all right. Like, he didn't really. We won 2-1. It's all right. We've got 34 points. I have intentions of making content. Cool. Well, it was never really my. I've been offered the job from Germany. Let's take. Oh, fuck off. Where's the R button? That's the R button. There we go. Yeah, I'm now the manager of Germany. I'm now the manager of Germany. We're gonna take Germany to the World Cup. I don't want to get rid of Neil because he's reportedly going to be a good player, but might as well. Reject. I'm not selling Edwards because Edwards is meant to be pretty good. Yeah, I never had any intention of filming. I never had any intention of filming my YouTube content. I just made some stop motions and wanted to show them. Calater's got 4 goals, 8 assists. That's pretty good. Now we got a game against Wolves. I think we can quick sim that. I think we're going to win it. It was a draw. It was a draw. Like, everything happened in the first half. Fucking hell, everyone was a draw. Every game was a draw. All these unread messages, what? Think you give me a run? Yeah, I'm giving everyone a run. I'm happy with the games you're giving me. Of course. Pickford? He didn't want to go. Oh, but yeah, Jordan Pickford's already said for many years that he never wants to go. Jordan Pickford said years ago that he would love to stay at Everton for the rest of his career if he could. Let's sim the West Ham because we got 2 more important games coming up against Manchester City, and we've got more important games against Manchester City and Chelsea coming up, and I think we're just going to win this one anyway. Yeah, we won 4-0. I wonder if Alexander-Arnold's back to goal yet. Joe, are you English? I am English. We're on a nice little run at the moment. We've got 38 points. Tiana Barry has 27 goals, guys. Tiana Barry has 27 goals in 16 games. Who's got the assists then? Kelater has 8 assists in 16 games. Elimin Ndai has 7 assists in 16 games. Why are you English? Because I was born in England. Garner has 5 assists. Dwight McNeil and Barry both have 3. Should we quickly see? Should we quickly see where all the goals have been coming from? I know Barry's obviously been our breadwinner. I know Barry's been our goal scoring machine. Okay, Tiana Barry 28 goals, one in the friendly, 27 in the league. Kelater 8 goals, 9 assists, 4 in the league. 4 in the league, 3 in the Carabao Cup, 1 assist. So he's bagged 8 goals, 9 assists in the league, and 1 in a friendly match. McNeil 5 goals, 3 assists. Shrewsbury Hall, 4 goals, 3 assists. 2 goals, 5 assists for Garner. 2 goals, 10 assists for Ndai. 7 in the Prem. He's bagged 2 in the friendly match 1. Alexander-Arnold has played 21 games, and he's got 2 assists. That's true. Yeah, that is true. What you just said is very much true. So if you're from another part of the world, if you're from, say, another part of the world, things are completely different. So what I find normal, you might find not normal. Hold on, we've had some offers come in for Jake O'Brien. O'Brien role update. He's about to become 82 rated. I can make him a wing back. I could just make him a wide back now. Like, I could make him a full back person. I could turn him into a winger. I mean, I can do quite a lot with him, but not going to do that right now. We've had a few offers. Yep, we're not going to do. We can do his contract now. I didn't realize this contract was up. Well, that's the thing though, Swiss. Not being I wouldn't say being selected. But your DNA comes from your parents. Your DNA comes from your parents, so you wouldn't look, if you were born to someone else, you would look completely different. Like, for example, you would look completely different. You wouldn't exist. So, for example, say... Let's think of a good example here. Edwards, delegate, new 2 years. Michael Keane, might as well just let go. Alcaraz I've already sold. Alcaraz is sold. I wouldn't say you're selected. You're not selected by your parents. Literally, you're made by your parents. Like whatever DNA you're made by your parents with the DNA. Your DNA is mixed with that of your parents. A thing. So they said you inherit traits from your parents. So, for example, if you're very tall, the chances are your parents are tall. 90% of the time. %90 of the time. It's the thing of... So, for example, I'm fairly short, guys, but my mum and dad are fairly short. Well, my mum... So, I'm fairly short. Well, I'm 5'9", guys. I'm 5'9", guys. So, I'm not tall, but I'm not short. Whereas, so my mum's average height, 5'4", and my dad is below average height for a male, 5'6". So, How? Why are you playing? How? And why are you playing FIFA? Because I do play FIFA. We're doing a bit of Forfeit FIFA for a bit. Come on. Haaland is not going to score against us today. Joe, now how? What do you mean how? I turned FIFA on. No, Joe, not how. Now how? Why are you playing FIFA? No, Joe, not how. Have you played Fortnite? No, I haven't. Well, not your genes aren't gone. Genes can skip generations. Genes can skip generations. So basically, I don't look like my mum and dad. I look like my nan. My grandmother. I have a lot of my mum said to me this. Okay, I hope you get a win. Yeah, I don't like Fortnite. I've never got the appeal of the game. I don't play games that I don't have an appeal for. Yeah, that's not a pen. Get your ass up. That ain't a pen. Timer dive with the right stick. Yeah, well I will, but I don't. I already know he's going left, so I'm gonna go right. Shit. That ain't a pen. Manchester City are cheats. Where are you getting the ball? Come on. Yeah, so for example, you know, genes can skip generations, so nobody in my family, my mum doesn't have blue eyes, my dad doesn't have blue eyes, but my grandmother had blue eyes. So I look like my gran. My gran has blue eyes. But genes can skip generations. It's really weird. Genes can just totally skip generations. So even though that you don't have it, someone along your lines could have it. Here comes Dwight McNeil. He turns in to the box. Oh no. But yeah, it's a very bizarre one. So like, well, yeah. Well, they know that's because humans can only access like 5% of their brain, 10% of their brain. You know, subconsciously, the human brain isn't used 100%. The humans can only access like 10% of their brain. Nobody can stop us today. Nobody can stop us today. We are 17 games, 28 goals. Tiano Barry is an absolute goal scoring machine. We don't have to do the forfeit about him bagging 25 goals then. And it's 2-2. Absolutely incredibly. We can win this match. I don't you believe there's a creator? I don't believe there's a creator. Like, there's things that just happen naturally. I don't believe that there's a creator, but, you know, things happen naturally. But it's like, because, you know, if say there's a lightning strike, and it catches a fire, the lightning's caused the fire, but it was an electromagnetic storm that caused the lightning. But if you start the fire, you know, the fire started itself, like how the fire started itself. So on that front, I think things can just happen naturally. Like the line, I really like the line in Jurassic Park when they say just life finds a way. Like humans have adapted over time. Humans have adapted over time. But that's just my theory though. And he can. But yeah, that's what I mean, Swiss. So I don't think there's a creator, because not everything needs a creator. Because it's like a video game, you know, not everything that happens in a video game is programmed. Was it programmed for my game to start playing itself? Was it programmed for my game to move by itself? Because that's something that it wasn't programmed. That's why I don't believe there's a creator, because there's things that I think just happen naturally. Yeah, that's what I mean. But it says God did the apple, but that was from a book. But we've got history. We've got world history from before that, the time that was written, that it said it started. That's the bit that I always find confusing. The bit I always find interesting. Yeah, what I find interesting is the book's sort of been disproven. What I find interesting is the book's sort of been disproven, but now people are trying to find evidence to tie the book into the new history. What I mean is, like, we've got human species now. We've got bones that are 2 million human bones that are 2 million years old, but the Bible says that the universe wasn't existed till like 6,000 years ago. And it's one of those that at the time it was written, that's what we thought, but now we've got evidence that there's other things that on track, that there's older things. And that's the bit that I find, that's the bit where I think that it was more... They were corrupted. But that's the thing, were they corrupted, or... What I want to know, which is something a theory that I quite find interesting, was the Bible a fictional story that's... was the Bible a fictional story that survived? Because it says it was corrupted. It said that it was corrupted. Or was it just proven that it... Or was the original one proven that it was false? It's an interesting. They used to make sense. But is that a thing though, Swiss? Of it made sense back in the day, but now like science has become more advanced. It doesn't make sense anymore. it's an interesting. It is an interesting point of view. If something used to make sense and it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah, but on that particular religion, though, there's some things in that book that should not be. I think over the years, though, I wouldn't say it was corrupted, because I know what you're talking about there. Oh, shit. I know what you're talking about there. But the OG stuff was in a time where there was things that you could do that you can't do. So on one particular religious book which has always been protected, it says you can kill non-believers. But there's some stuff that should be taken out of religious books that you legally can't do anymore. Like you legally can't go and kill other people that don't agree with your opinion. But there are some bits in old religious textbooks that was probably acceptable then, but aren't acceptable now. Because there is a line somewhere in the Quran that says something about you can kill non-believers. I remember reading something about it. Because it was on a book. You can't hurt innocent people, no. Oh, what was it? This is it. This is the one. Kill them wherever you come upon them, and drive them out of the places from which they have driven you out. For persecution is far worse than killing, and do not fight them unless they attack you. But that's the bit that people don't like. There's a line which people don't like, and it says about kill them, which is probably should not be there. Now, Goyance, yeah, but there is a line somewhere in there that's really questionable. There is a line in there that's really, really questionable. But then I said, corrupted is one thing. What's the context of? I don't know. I do not know the context. I don't know what the context is, but there is a line which is quite questionable. But if you can't find the context, are people in religion taking it out of context? It's an interesting one where I'm just thinking of something a second. Because we know the context. Yeah. But are there people reading it out of context and taking it out of context who are religious? So, for example, that was one of the things in Islamic State. I'm not that knowledgeable, sorry, that's alright. There was a thing. Jake O'Brien, they want him for 25 million. Fuck off, he ain't going. Yeah, there's a thing like when Islamic State took over in like 2015 in parts of Syria, there was a late girl that went out there and she told her story a few years ago, and she said about seeing heads in bins and things like that of non-Muslims. I remember reading that and thinking, well, maybe that is slightly, that line should be slightly questionable. You can kill non-believers. But every religious textbook has a line that is questionable. It's like in Sikhism, they worship a book. They had a guru, in Sikhism, they had their religious book. They had their religious guru, and the last guru decided to write everything down in a book instead. So now they worship the book, and it's a really That's a really young religion. So basically, they worship I think they worship the book instead of. I'm gonna sneeze, guys. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I love that stuff. It's really interesting, but I think there are lines which are questionable. But on the context of religion, I sometimes think, though, are we trying to find evidence to prove... They're offering us Christopher and Kunku. No. Yeah. I think every religious textbook has a lot of contradictions, though, because it was wrote over time. I think every religious textbook, because not everyone's read every religious textbook. Not everyone's read every line. Not everyone's read every single page of every single religious textbook. Not everyone religious has read the whole I think it was probably a story in the book. Yeah. But because it's all stories, I think with all religion, the books, each one is a story. And you sort of pick and choose what you believe. But nowadays you have people that believe absolutely everything from the book, thinking it was 100% when there's about 80 or 90 different stories that are on the same thing. Like the God Bless You guy. The God Bless You guy. He got taken out of contest. Yeah. But normally as well, it's not just people reading it that take it out of context. Like everyone takes something out of context. Why does everyone want Jake O'Brien? I'm not selling him. I'm not selling him because I want to shit the bed. I'm not selling him because I want to get it out of the thing. Yeah. But it's not just people that aren't religious taking it out of context. I think people take things out of context from religious books a bit. But everyone takes everything out of context nowadays. So right, we've just lost 2 games. I'm gonna skim through a couple of these. I think you should read the book. But it's all religious. It's all religious books, though. It's all religious books where you've got contradictions. Because I don't think everyone's expected to. I don't think everyone reads every book. It is an interesting one. It's also because they were wrote over time. You know, societal practices changes over time. So when things are written, it's like let me think of a good example a second. It's like, say I was to chairman interference. Chairman interference. I've got to change. I've just won 2 games, and now the chairman's supposed to that. So basically what I mean to this is, say that I start writing a book, and over the years people add more and more to that book. Eventually it's going to be a completely different book than I had intended at the start. Because all the subsequent chapters are going to be completely different. Do you get what I mean? Do you guys sort of get what I mean? Like, if you read like an old book, a book that was written over many, many years... If you read a book that was written over like many, many years and written by multiple people, eventually it's going to be completely different in each one because it's going to be a completely different story. Like, for example, like my book, The Attack from Space. The Attack from Space changed so much over the 10 years it took me to write. Oh my God. Yeah, do you guys get what I mean? So you never know, really. With those old textbooks, you never know. You never know 100% because of how long it took to write. Was it completely? We've just won 4 games in a row. That's lovely. Now we're sort of back on track. Like, for example, a book came out recently. There was a book come out a few years ago. It became a film. It's a true story. It's just emerged that half of it was fabricated. But that's what I mean. Like when a book starts, some of it's real, some of it's not. It's yeah. In my religion, God sent the Torah gospel, and it got tampered with by the people who disliked it and didn't like its rules. Yeah. It's like there's a comedy film when they take the piss out of the 10 Commandments. Have you guys ever seen? Oh, I forgot what it's called. Theory of the World. Oh, there's an old comedy film. There's an old comedy film, and when Moses gets the 10 Commandments, new ownership. Your club has been bought and it's now under new ownership. The new owners have lofty ambitions, and expect to start worrying. Every owner has the right way to build success. Times are changing. Everton. I understand. So I potentially could struggle now. They might not want me as a manager. Well, yeah, I think everyone spread the message. What I meant, religion spread across the world basically by like how how Great Britain obviously colonized the world. Yeah, you know how Great Britain, Spain, France colonized the world, all the little the United States, America, Africa, and things like that. They sort of brought religion with them. They sort of brought Christianity with them, and like how Arab conquests brought Islam with them. Like, for example, that was the thing. England and Spain's wars in the 16th century was over who was the head of Christianity. England was the bastion of Protestant Christianity, and Spain was the bastion of Catholic, and they were at war with each other. So it's one of those. We had all these other religions that said different things. Like, for example, Christianity was brought to the UK by the Romans, because the Romans converted to Christianity from whatever their initial religion was. We're on a bit of a period at the moment where we've drew and lost some games, but as it stands, we're 53 points. Tiada Barry has 36 goals in 24 games, and 29 games. Sorry. I was aiming this to win 20 games this season. I'm a bit worried. I don't think we've won. We've won 16 out of 29. We've got another 9. He has to break the cross and tell people to start worshipping him. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's what I meant is like we've had all these other religions, and now we have like 6 main religions, and we had all these other religions, and that's what I find really interesting. We now say there's one God, when all these other religions that were around had loads of gods. And the Antichrist will fool most Muslims and Jews and Christians. Have you seen that really bizarre theory that Mr. Beast is the Antichrist? Have you guys seen that bizarre belief that have you guys seen the bizarre belief that Mr. Beast is the Antichrist? I think Germany's going to win these games. I don't think I need to sort this out. Right. Germany's first win. 2-0. Good. I've started with a 100% win record. Now we've got to play Romania, which we should beat Romania. Yep, good. I've won my first 2 games, but it doesn't number our beliefs. Yeah, it's just that's the thing though. With the align, that's the thing though. With like you know how things align with people's beliefs. That's what I find quite interesting. Everyone tries to find a way to align something with their beliefs, but sometimes there's just way there it just doesn't align. That's what I find really interesting. Yeah. That's something I find interesting about religion. Now that we know that, you know, humans are over 200,000 years old, based on science, they're now trying to fight. They had to try and find a way to align that to religion. Do you guys get what I mean? In a way, that's what I find quite interesting. Because based on our history, we don't have much history before 10,000 years ago, before the invention of written word. So we can't turn around and say what we did. The only thing we can prove is that we've dug up old weapons. We've dug up old weapons from thousands of years ago. I would laugh though, Swiss, based on what you just said about the sun rising in the west. I would laugh if the world suddenly changed, and then that did actually happen. Guys, we've got an FA Cup match coming up, and we've got to play Liverpool. My career, 42 wins, 14 draws, 28 losses. I forgot what our challenges are. I would laugh because they said the Earth is an interesting one. The Earth's magnetic poles changes every 1,000,000 years or so. And I don't know, I don't get how that happens. Earth. The Earth's magnetic north and south poles switch in a process called geomagnetic reversal, which happens irregularly over time. The last major flip was over 780,000 years ago, meaning we're overdue, though it won't happen tomorrow. These flips are slow, gradual shifts for thousands of years of the magnetic shield. While the protective magnetic shield weakens, potentially disrupting technology, there's no evidence linking past reversals to mass extinctions. Well, no, but that's probably because it's magnetic. And before the world ends, the Kaaba will be destroyed by an Ethiopian king. Yeah. Yes, it's it is an interesting thing. How will the world end? But when a lot of this was written, when a lot of this was written, you know, kings. When a lot of this was written, kings didn't exist. Kings were everywhere, but now most of the world is like democracies and republics. So that's what makes me interested by some of this stuff. I'm like, are we trying to judge? Because I said this to a friend. I don't think in 2025 we should judge people from a book from 2,000 years ago. But that's just my opinion, guys. That's just my opinion on it. I love religion, guys. I love people on religion, but I'm not religious myself. I personally think it was all. I personally think it was fiction, but that's just my belief. We're smart enough to translate. Yeah. But back then, But back then, the world was so different. The world was so different, you know, everyone thought the earth was flat. 2,000 years ago, everyone thought the earth was flat. And, you know, 2,000 years ago, we didn't know about the United States. 2,000 years ago, we didn't know that about the United States existed. 2,000 years ago, we thought the world was flat. We thought that we were the center of the universe. That was only disproven 400 years ago when they realized that when they looked for a satellite, which is a really interesting part of history. How were they supposed to explain planes? But back in ancient Greece, back in ancient Egypt, which predates it, they talked about wings. I don't think they weren't predicting planes. They weren't predicting planes, though. I doubt they were predicting planes, but I think it's because people are now looking at the descriptions and thinking they did that. It's like I doubt they predicted planes, but I think that's a modern judgment. I think that's more of a modern judgment, if you get what I mean. All right. Oh, a donkey with wings would be a Pegasus, which in ancient mythology, Pegasus used to walk across the ground, which a Pegasus was like a horse donkey with wings. But I doubt that they were predicting planes, because I think that's more of we're trying to find an answer by using a book from 2,000 years ago, like it's like when we go back in time and things like that before the hour. But that can happen. That can happen. That's not really a prediction, because that's not really a prediction really, because that everyone sort of knows that can happen. Things can go green. Like it happened in Sahara. It happened in the Sahara for the Sahara 40,000 years ago. The Sahara turned into a forest due to the facts. I think it was over the weather. I think the weather changed. I think the weather formats changed, and the Sahara was a forest. But the same as the fact there's a place in the UK. How were they supposed to know that back then? But you never know. You never know. But you might have seen it though, Swiss, because they might have seen something like that. A place which is barren suddenly turning into life isn't quite far-fetched. You could have actually seen that. We've got a field here, it's barren. We've had some rainfall and it's gone green. In some parts of the world, when it rains, it starts to green again. Like the UK, for example. Like the UK, for example. The UK 2,000 years... The UK... I need to say 2,000 years ago then. The UK last year... We had a really, really warm summer where the UK had... What's the profit doing? That is true, but even back in them days, you know, no one lives forever. That's the bit I don't understand some parts when they go like that. They say you know, as you said about the prophet. But no human lives forever. Oh, that was a bad one. That's the bit that I find baffling. Like, there was a saying many years ago. For example, here's a good one actually. There was a saying back. There was a belief back in the Middle Ages that if the ravens left the tower, there was a belief back in the Middle Ages that if the ravens left the tower, then that would be the signal for the end of the British monarchy. Nothing lives forever besides God. Well, nothing lives forever. Nothing lives forever, even without religion. That's the two things in life. Everyone lives and everything dies. I think in the future people will start living longer just because of all these technological aspects. Well, yeah, but it is an odd belief, like what you just said about the prophet, for example. It's an odd thing. Everybody believing that the end of the world will start when he dies. It's basically different parts of the world have really odd beliefs. Like, for example, in South Africa, they still believe in witchcraft. Some parts of South Africa, witchcraft is still a belief. So in the UK, for example, there was a belief if the ravens left the Tower of London that the British monarch would die. There's a mythological creature called Herd the Hunter. What do you mean not exactly? I'm a bit confused what you mean. Every country has its sort of really bizarre belief. Really bizarre, like every country has a really bizarre belief. Like the UK was Hern the Hunter. Hern the Hunter was meant to be a creature, was meant to be a half deer, half human. He would reportedly appear every time his appearance would signify the death of the monarch. It's a really interesting one. Like the UK had Sawney Bean. The UK had another one in Scotland with Sawney Bean. Sawney Bean was by all accounts a cannibal with like 50 children. Each mirror signs each. Yeah, but you know, what I'm saying is there's no proof. Every country has their weird belief of what's going to happen. Like I just said, the UK and Hern the Hunter. They believe that Hern the Hunter. Yeah. But there's all these different... What I'm saying is there's all these different beliefs of what's going to happen. But every country has a different one. Every country has a different bizarre sign. Well, not bizarre. Every country has a sign. Like with the UK, it was the ravens leaving the tower. And Hern the Hunter. In America, it's probably something else. Like in... There was a guy in my... There's a documentary series I like from this guy. This guy goes to police station, goes across the world to the toughest prisons. He went to South Africa, and he met a guy that was gave these drugs from a witch, and basically, this guy killed his children. He killed his children, thinking that he was going to get fame from this witch, and the chances are he would probably get away with it. Because witchcraft is still believed in some parts, in some areas. In some parts of the world, witchcraft is still believed, and he'd probably get away with it because he believed he was given drugs from a witch. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, what I was saying though is every country has a different sort of belief. It's a really interesting point. Like everybody wants to believe something. I understand. Yeah, yeah. That's what I meant. Like every country has its bizarre belief. Like you said about the prophet dying as a minor sign. In the UK, it was completely different. It was Herne the Hunter. If Herne the Hunter was speared, it would be the end of the world because the British monarch would die. And it was also the did you see the new PC I got yesterday? I saw your image, Pixel King. I did see your image. I think I responded. Saying it looked good. It looked cool. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, welcome to the stream. I'm playing FC26 on. I'm playing FC26 on the new Switch 2, and it's playing a lot better. FIFA's playing a lot better. I've really enjoyed playing this on here. Besides murder becomes the norm. Yeah, but that's the thing. What I want to find, something that I'd love to find out. What happens if you get all the signs and then nothing happens? Like, for example, the Mayan calendar. Do you guys know what the Mayan calendar is? Should I have to explain what it is? Do I have to explain what the Mayan calendar was? It isn't pretty, but it is a PC that can play Minecraft. Well, you know, computers aren't meant to be pretty. Computers aren't meant to be pretty. Yeah, what I meant, the Mayan... What I meant, Swiss, is the Mayan calendar was written thousands of years ago by... Well, I think 3,000-4,000 years ago. And it predicted the end of the world. And basically every time the Mayan calendar prediction has happened and it hasn't happened, they've had to do it on 1,000 years. So the Mayans predicted the end of the world on December 21st. Yeah. They said the world was going to end on December 21st, 2012. So I would have been 9. I would have been 9. No, I would have been 8 because I wouldn't have been 9. I wouldn't have been 9, guys, for a couple of days, actually. Well, I wouldn't have been 9 for 6 days because I'm 23, guys, tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow, guys. Shit, the bed. Where was that ball going? But I don't know. But Illumin Die has got there and he has scored. Yeah, they said the world was going to end in 2012 and you can only survive by going up a mountain. Then the world didn't end and all these people were up on the mountain. But it's like every culture in history says how the world's going to end. Every culture in history has a different belief about how the world's going to end. And it's a really interesting point of view. Every culture in history says the world's going to end. Has a belief. But every single time it's been disproved. That's what I find interesting. Like in America, for example, a lot of people claim that Joe Biden was the Antichrist. I don't think global warming will destroy the Earth personally. Well, you're already seeing the rewriting of history. But that's because they're trying to prove now that everything ever been done is wrong. Like I said to a person this morning, there was a person we had earlier on who was talking about we were talking about, there was a guy on the stream earlier on talking about Japan, and I said I don't really like Japan because they've never fully admitted to their atrocities caused in the Second World War. And he said, well, why don't you just let the past be the past? And that's basically rewriting that's rewriting history. Because you liked anime, you think that the history of what Japan did in the Second World War should just not be mentioned again. But you know, they caused a lot of atrocities. Like you've got to keep an eye on the history. You can't just turn around and say it never happened because you like the animations they do. It's like do you guys get what I mean? It's like the changing of history. So like Winston Churchill, people now say he was a monster and evil, but he wasn't a monster. He what Winston Churchill did, which was wrong, was he valued the British. He valued British civilians and British soldiers above other people in the British Empire, which that was his thing. That was his bad bit. One thing this is great, it has 16 gigabyte of RAM. That's pretty good. 16 gig of RAM. That's but everyone will be so desperate for food. Well, that will happen anyway because of overpopulation. Like the two biggest countries in the world for overpopulation is China and India. China for 30 years had a policy you could only have one kid. So there was a guy, I read a story the other day about a guy, he actually had 2 children. And the Chinese authorities forced him to give one of his children up for adoption because he violated the 2-child policy. The 1-child policy, sorry. But I don't think global warming is going to kill us all, because do you know why they call it global warming? Because they can't decide whether it's going to be global warming or global cooling. That's why they call it climate change. 500 gigs, that's good. That's good. I think my laptop's 24 gig. My laptop's 24 gigabytes RAM. And roughly 500 gigabytes, I think. Yeah, I think 16 to 32 is enough. I don't think you need anything over 32. Oh, shit, the bed.
More Premier League for you to enjoy on the way on the ATV as United face Liverpool. Now you can sort your schedule accordingly. And play on is the verdict there.
Oh, that was a good save. Oh my eye. Guys, I got some brilliant news for you guys. I've got some brilliant news for you guys on stream. Legacy Console Edition can be ported to Switch 2. You do have, the thing is though, Swish, you do have countries that think, you do have leaders that think they're gods. You do have world leaders that think they're gods, that's the thing. There was a world leader that thought he was a prophet a few years ago. There was a guy called Idi Amin. He was a leader of an African country. He called himself a really bizarre name. What's been amazing is that I can also upgrade it to 32 gigs of RAM more easily, and I can get a new graphics card. Yeah, that's good. The Switch, I bought a Switch 2 for Christmas, so my dad gave me some of the money back. My Minecraft version works on it, and it also if you port, guys, who here is content, everyone on this stream, who is thinking of potentially buying a Switch 2? Who here is thinking of buying a Switch 2? Nintendo. We're too clever now. Well, yeah, like, you know, and we're only gonna get cleverer. We're only gonna get cleverer because, you know, we're trying all this scientific stuff. You know, humans are very, very clever, but we need to stop all these squabbles over silly shit. That I've always wanted to. I've always liked the idea of going to another planet.
And off we go again with the gap now a full 5-0.
I don't think God does that, though, personally. If there was a God, I think he loves watching his creations expand and expand. I think all his creations that he makes, like people, I think I think I think he enjoys watching them go to war, watching them, expand and explore and things like that and explore. It's like it's like a video game. It's like a video game. So I wouldn't say it's an illusion. It's like a video game. You know when you start your Minecraft world. You know when you start your Minecraft world, you go and explore. You know when you start your Minecraft world, you explore and then you build and then you go and you go further and further out and doing more stuff. It's like that. I think God, rather than end the world like people think God will, I think God actually just sits back and loves watching, humans go out and explore, go out into space, meet with other creatures. I think God just loves watching that happen. I heard the Ace is going to start producing. It's around Monopoly. Asus is good. Asus do really, really good computers. Or an illusion. Like, for example, when you hear... This is what one of my uni lecturers said to us, which is really interesting in the class. When you hear, Swiss, about go to bed before the bed bugs bites. You hear about these mythical creatures. When you hear about these mythical creatures. When you hear about the mythical creatures that go to bed, or this mythical creature get you. Go to bed, or you might see go to bed, sleep, or you might see the Sandman. It's my uni lecturer once said this to me. My uni lecturer once said to me, "Look, go to sleep, or you'll see the Sandman, or you'll have this, or this will happen. Jump on a crack, and it'll break your back." It's because my uni lecturer said it's to scare children, because basically, it's to scare children because humans are at the top of the food chain. We have no natural predator. There's no creature out there that is our natural predator. We are no one's prey. We are the apex predator. So telling kids to be scared of the man of the one-eyed monster down the road, and the guy with the horns on his head, telling children to go and be scared of them is a way of putting fear in children to behave and do this and go to sleep, because we have no natural predators. There's nothing for us naturally to be afraid of. So it's a way of getting children to actually be there. We are on Earth. Yeah, we're on Earth, but we have no natural predator. There's no creature is naturally hunts humans. We're the apex predator. Nothing goes to hunt us. So we're nothing in space and above. I'm a bit confused where that's come from. But it's like all these creatures that they tell us to be scared of, like the guy with the horns. The thing they tell us, like all that stuff, a lot of it is designed to scare children because humans have no natural predators. We're doing well. I'm just sorry, I was just Googling something then. We innovate and we destroy. They're not doing very well. You couldn't spot that. Yeah, I think you've got to look at the world. I think you've got to look at the world. I think you've got, when you're experiencing the world, you've got, I think you've got to, if anyone is like religious, for example, and they've, they know, I think they've got to experience the world, not just the books, not just the religious textbooks. Like, oh shit, that was a good goal. I think you learn more about the world with your own eyes than what you see in books. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know, because when I see stuff from books, sometimes you see stuff come true. Sometimes you do see stuff come true. Like Atlantis, for example. When you see the Book of Atlantis, you think it's a fictional story, when in reality, Plato, the guy that wrote Atlantis, just wrote the story of a village. The guy that wrote Atlantis wrote a story, and what most people don't realise was he based Atlantis on an island that was destroyed by a volcano. Because the volcano was underwater and the island was there, and the volcano exploded and caused the island to sink. Half of it went underwater. And it's one of those. Yeah. So I personally, I don't believe the religious textbooks. I believe what I see through my eyes. Oh shit, I'm not very good at getting the goals. My back is so sore. I'm playing awful on this stream. But yeah, the world is a weird place. The world's a weird place. But one thing I do hate, I will admit, guys, one thing I do hate is a government. One thing I do hate, guys, about religion is the governments. I don't think that governments should have anything religious. I don't think... Jesus Christ, I'm playing awful in this match. I'm personally, guys, I don't think governments should be religious. Yeah. I think in both religions, I think in all three Abrahamic religions, he didn't die. He went up. In all three of them. I think in all three of them he didn't die. Obviously he died at the cross and then he came back to life. Yeah. But that's the thing. What I don't like is what I don't like about the US and what I don't like about those countries is the swearing on the Bible. I don't agree with that. Like, I don't agree with countries in Africa that, to be president, you've got to be Islamic, you've got to be 40 years old, you've got to be Muslim. I don't agree with that. Like Iran, for example. Like Iran. Iran was a monarchy and now it's basically an Islamic republic where Christians... Like, I remember reading this about a few years ago, and it was basically people who were Christian in Iran, and they were saying about how they've been you know, how they've been persecuted and things like that. I don't agree with governments that are, you know, religious. There should be religion should be separate from politics. Like what the UK is. The king might be the king might be the head of the Catholic Church, but the king caters for all religions. Like the king caters, like the king mentioned, the British monarch caters for all of them. But when you see governments that are religious, are they acting on their countries? Or when you see like governments that are basically ruled by religious policies, are they ruling in their country's benefit, or are they ruling on a religious benefit? That's sort of what I mean, guys. That's what I don't like when I see it. Like Iran, for example. Like Iran a few years ago, basically, they've got a rule in Iran that women have to wear hijabs in public, and a lady got beat to death for taking hers off. But that's where it's wrong. Like, you should, in the world, you should have a little bit of free reign to do what you want. Yeah, Iran's an interesting one. Iran is a really interesting... That was not a pen. Oh, it's a free kick. He's going on the line. But yeah, in some country... Well, that's the thing, though. You never... Everyone's... Religion, like Islam, Christianity, Swiss... It's very much it's an interpretation. It's how you interpret it. It's not how the book says it. It's how you interpret it. Oh shit! He just about missed that. It's not about how the book says it. It's how it's interpreted by the reader. So in Iran, it's interpreted as. In Iran, it's interpreted completely differently than another country might interpret it. Like football, for example, every referee interprets everything differently. If you guys get what I mean. Like how religion is interpreted absolutely different, very differently. It's similar. Everything's interpreted differently. How you interpret your religion is completely different to how someone else will interpret it. It's like, have I made that not make sense? It could get bad. Tell you what, I will reject that bit though. It's to protect women because men are stronger. But a woman covering all her hair and her body, where is the protection part there? I don't get the protection part there. Like, in COVID, I had my hood on because it was cold and I had a face mask off, and I was told to take my hood off by someone because obviously I had a face mask on, and then I saw a lady walk in full gear, whatever you call them. What do you call them? No, it wasn't a hijab. A hijab. What's the other ones that cover your whole body? Lust. That makes sense. That makes sense, though. That does make sense. But is that really strict, though? But is that really... What's the one which covers everything and just leaves the eye holes? So in COVID... Is that what they're called? Is that what they're called, Swiss? The ones which only have the eye holes? During COVID, I basically went into a shop and I had my hoodie. I I had my hoodie on, and and I had the hood over because it was cold. I had a face mask on. I got told to take it off because they needed some face for camera. I got told to take the hood off, and then I saw a lady walking with one of them. I'm like, well, I've had to take my hood off. I've had to take my hood off. If he, because they got to see faces because everyone's got face masks on. I was sat there like, but if he turns around and asks her to take that off because they can't see the face on the camera, is that racism? Is that racism? Like I've been told to take my hood off in COVID because they can't see faces for the CCTV cameras. Is that racism if they ask her to take hers off because they can't I can't say the name of it. Would it be racism if they asked her to take it off because of the CCTV camera? That's what I was thinking. She could say her face but not her hair. But that's the bit I don't get though. That's the bit I don't get. You cover your hair. That's the bit I've never understood. You don't have to cover your face, but you can cover your hair. Like, men are not looking at hair. That's kind of racist. But is it though? Because technically walking into a shop in the UK wearing it, technically they can't see the face. So technically it does thing the camera. Unless it's an emergency. Well, it would have been an emergency. It would have been COVID. But I have seen that before, though. Well, I have seen that before. But yeah, I was sat there like, would they be thing for racism if because of that? Of all the religions though, the only thing I don't agree with is the thing that you can marry four women. I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that, but a man can marry 4 women, but a woman can't marry 4 men. I find that one a bit. Yeah, that's the bit I find a bit strange. There's some parts of the world that I find really bizarre. I don't think that bit's allowed in the UK. It's not mandatory. In some, yeah, but in some parts, I don't think it's allowed in the UK. But there are some parts which I find quite strange. Well, the bit about 9 years old is a bit strange as well. There was a guy who was in my Discord server. He asked us why the UK... There was a guy who was in my Discord server. No word of a lie. He asked us why the age of consent in the UK is not 9 like it is in Syria. And I was sat there. I didn't know how to answer that. I'm like, because it's immoral? Because it's a sin to cheat in Islam. But then that's what I find quite funny. You know, the 4 marriage thing in Islam. I'm like, well, isn't that technically cheating? Because you've got 4 wives. You've got 4 wives, and like, how can you can't love them all at the same time? That's the bit I don't understand. And the guy asked me that question, and I'm sat there like, what answer do I come up with that? I'm like, because it's wrong. But it's wrong in the UK, but it's not wrong in some other countries but it's not wrong in some other countries. I think it's not wrong in Afghanistan. No, because all the... But they have to consent to it, but that's the thing. But that's the thing, though. You know, in some parts of the world, like... I had a guy in my stream a few weeks ago from India saying that he's been told to get married, and like his family have picked out a wife. In some parts of the world, though, is there consent, or is it like you've been told that you marry them? Not in some parts of the world that is generally a thing, which I think is sad. I think that's really, really sad. Do I believe in the afterlife? I don't know. I don't know. But you have to be fair and just, yeah. Oh, shit, I thought that was going in then. Oh, Jesus, scared the shit out of me. I don't know whether I'm going to continue this stream all night, guys. It's consent, yeah. But it's interesting. There's some parts of all religions that I find strange. And I don't understand. But as I said, I don't understand. There's a lot I don't understand. Like, I don't understand non-binary. I've never understood non-binary. People that are non-binary. I'm like, well, you might not identify as a gender, but you can't call yourself a tree or something like that. Like, some people have generally identified as a trees and cats, and I'm like, what? But Tiano the Cannon Barry scores again. Yeah, how is everybody today? We're doing really well. We're in the FA Cup at the moment. I think it's wrong now. But that's the thing. As I said though, like, there's things you could do thousands, hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago that you can't do now. Like, for example, marrying children. You could do that in the UK over 1,000 years ago. Back then they had different norms. Well, every country had different norms. Like what I said about judging people in 2025 on books from from 2,000 years ago. There's so many different things what we could do years ago. Like, for example, King... Let me just grab a history book a second. There was a King of England. He was 14. His wife was 12. Yeah. There was a King of England. He was 14. He was 28. His wife was 12. There was a King of England. He was 28. His wife was 12. They didn't do anything till they were 13 because that was the law back then. Well, allowed till maturity. But they said nowadays oh, it's a pen. Nowadays maturity is a lot later than they thought it was then. Nowadays, it's not until we're like... Nowadays, maturity is obviously... it's whenever you make it, really. Well, it's 16 in the UK. Well, in America, it's 21. The UK used to be drinking of 21, and then they changed it. They changed it to 18. Well, you can run... Well, it's not weird. It's not weird though. It makes sense. It makes sense. Like, the British government want to change it so 16-year-olds can vote. The British government is currently planning a law to change it so that 16-year-olds can vote in the next UK election. So in 2029, people born in 2013 will be able to vote. So I couldn't vote in the last election. In the last election, I couldn't vote. Makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Like, for example, again, that's yours going, I think that's too young. I feel like it's too young. 18 is 18. It should remain as 18 in my opinion. In my opinion, it should remain as 18. But 18 years old, you're an adult. At 18 years old, you're an adult and you can make your own decisions. At 18 years old, you're an adult and you can make your own sort of... You can make your own... That's a pen. That's a pen. That's got to be a pen. Oh, he's got a free kick, though. Oh my god. Definitely not too old, but definitely not too young. Well, yeah, UK is 18. The UK is... In some parts of the world, you got to be 35. You got to be 35 to vote. But in some countries don't want to modernise though. De Gea makes the save. Or as my mum once called him, De Gea. Shit the bed. Oh my god, hold on, I never noticed that. I thought we were losing, but it was 2-2 the whole time. Sorry if I'm turning your chat into weird stuff. No, it's interesting. You don't have to apologise, it's interesting stuff. Right. I'm going to switch... Hold on, I'm going to switch Garner into midfield. I'm going to switch McNeil to... I'm going to switch McNeil... I'm going to switch Ndai to here. I'm going to switch Ndai to there. If you got any questions, no, I'm all right. I don't have any. I don't have any questions, but I'm saying it's an interesting topic. That's why I like the topic. That's why I like these topics on streams. I think it's simple. I think it's necessary to raise awareness of what the world is like, because you don't want people to have perceived things of what the world is like. You want the world to feel. Barry's got 3 goals, but it's 3-3 now. We need one more goal. One more goal. If we can get one more goal, the FA Cup we'll be going to the final of the FA Cup. What do you mean Arsenal chasing that winner? We could be chasing that winner too. We believe not all people can go to heaven. But I think that's every religion, though. Every religion has a belief that good people go and bad people don't. I think that's every religious belief. And we've just absolutely found the net. So Iliman Ndiaye scores to make it 4-3. Yeah, every little good thing, but Bad and good, yeah. I think that's every religion, though. I think that's every religion. Oh no. Yeah. They're playing with 10? Oh, they're sending off. Well, it's 4-4 then. So this is the game to have watched. This is the FA Cup game to watch. I think this... We need another goal. Our most attacking threat here has been Alexander-Arnold down this right wing. I want to know. I don't know. Is this an FA Cup semi or... I don't know if this is an FA Cup semi or the FA Cup final. Yeah. We just can't win a game. He's much further than us in different time zones. You never know. Like on Mars, for example. I don't think any religion is allowed to do that. I don't think any religion is allowed to do that. Oh, we lost the FA Cup final 4-5. It was the FA Cup final. No. We lost 4-5. In the last minute of the game, we lost 4-5. Well, he kept the referee busy, but I sort of got him to tackle people. I think every religion's got that, Swiss, but then I think every religion does it anyway. I think every religion has that thing of you can't force people in. You can't force people to do it. But I think every religion does. I think every religion does that, but then it's not written down. There we go. How many people have watched this stream? 170. Wow. Tiana Barry bagged 42 goals, so he bagged 30 last season, 42 this season. He's bagged 72. I can't believe that, guys. We lost the FA Cup by in the last minute. Yeah. So we won our last 2 games of the season. Where did we finish this season in the league? Where did we finish in the league this season? I'm nervous now. We got the 21 games. We got the 21 games. That's good. We won 21. We drew 9. We lost 8. We scored 80. We scored 83 and conceded 44. 39 goals. We got 72 points. We got 72 points. I wouldn't say that though. Credit cards. I wouldn't say credit cards are forbidden because they wouldn't have existed back then. That seems like a modern addition though, because credit cards have only been around the last 40 years. We could actually have a good record here, actually. I've got 47 wins from 15 games, so I think we could end up with 50, at least 50 wins. We could end up with at least 50 wins from... I just can't believe that. Because credit cards wouldn't have existed. Credit cards wouldn't have existed 1,000 years ago. Because the context of interest... Interest on credit cards is not really that. It's about how much money does your bank account worth. I don't even know what interest is myself, pretty much. An interest charge is a fee for borrowing money calculated as a percentage of your outstanding balance. If you don't pay your full statement balance due date, allowing you to carry the debit, it's the cost of the loan. Well, that's how they make money. That's how they make money. Money injection. The owners are pleased with the club's strategy and have given the club a cash injection of £100 million. Money is being added to the transfer and give you the opportunity to capitalise on your recent successes. So I've got £100 million to spend next season. I think we can have a look at this season in a second. I just need to... the concept. Well, I can't read what it said. I couldn't read what your comment was. It's a form of oppression. It's not a form of oppression. It's how they make their money. So if they loan you the money, you pay it back, but there's nothing in it for the bank. So why would they give you the money? That's why they do it. That's why they do it. So they do it so you give the banks money because you're not allowed to hurt your body. Yeah. But the thing is, the difference there is it's not correct. It's not oppression. It's about what's the point of giving money out if you're not. What's the point of borrowing money? So if I was to borrow money from you, for example, most people want you to pay it back with a bit extra, because that you've taken a lot of. If I was to borrow money from someone, normally with the word interest things on, they want like 1% more. So they've got a profit from from the money you borrowed from them. That's why they do it. But it even says, because I've just had to Google it, you are right, it is forbidden. But it's not really a way of it being a oppression. It's more of a way of encouraging people to repay their debits quicker. If you're in debit with someone, the idea of interest is not oppression. It's to make people pay it back, because what some people do. I didn't want to quit the game then. That was a mistake. What people do, Swiss, is people borrow money and don't give it back. But interest is a way of getting people to give it back. So that's why it's done in other cultures and countries. It's done because people borrow money and then won't give it back. I follow my rules without worrying. Of course, in the West. Well, yeah, because I said if you're in the West, most of the Islamic rules are contradictory to the West. It's the same as the East. Most of the Western rules, most of what we do in the West contradicts the East, because the West and the East are completely different. It's like when you get news from you have to make more money to pay it back. Yeah. But borrowing money from people is I find borrowing money from people. I think borrowing money from people puts you in a bad mind anyway. I just need to go to the toilet. I'll explain that point in a second. You feel more safe in the West than the East. Well, yeah, that's the thing. But the difference is the West is much more pandered. The West is much more pandered to Christianity, because people that were Islamic in Western Europe wasn't 100%. Yeah, you know what? Most not eating pork. Well, alcohol's probably another one. Not drinking alcohol's another one. Like, not drinking alcohol, I keep thinking about as one. They're offering me all these players. I don't want to sell O'Brien. I don't want to sell O'Brien. I'd say alcohol is probably another one. But the thing is about when you said about interest, it's to encourage people. It's to encourage people to pay their loans back, to pay their money they borrowed back. It's not about making a profit. It's about getting people to pay their money back, because it tends to be that people that do that often don't pay their money back. What's a non-halal meat? Yeah. That's an interesting one though. A guy in the UK kicked off a few years ago. A British criminal that had been in prison for centuries. He kicked off that they only had halal meat on Christmas Day. They only had halal meat on Christmas Day, and he kicked off about it. This guy, he kicked off about it. This British criminal kicked off about it because he loved animals and he doesn't like the way that they kill the animal. But that's kind of wrong though. If you're in a British prison, you should be you're given food. You should be given something that's something that makes sense to the culture of the other the person. So a British person kicked off about it the 1 year. So Barry got 42 goals last season. So I finished 5th in the league, FA Cup runner-up, lost in round 3. Okay. End season. The board is delighted with me. But yeah, when you said about the bank thing, it's to encourage people to pay it back. So if you don't have anything like interest, you could go years without paying it back. Whereas in the UK, the UK in most countries, if you don't pay your money back by a certain time, by the deadline that you've set, that's what they promise. It's not a sin to eat it. Yeah. But not everyone is the same religion. Not everyone is the same religion. So not everywhere is going to have the same thing. It's like, let me think of a good example. Like we did it on a film set. We weren't aware. We did it on a film set where we weren't allowed. We did it on a film set inadvertently. We weren't aware. Basically, none of us knew anything about us. On my college class, none of us knew. Because we were all just hard working and we didn't know it. But none of us ever said an opinion. So obviously we did not know that this girl in our class was Islamic. So of course we just went out and ordered. When we were producing this short film, we just ordered a load of ham sandwiches. Of course, she ate it and didn't complain. But we weren't aware. We weren't aware that she was Islamic. So it ended up, she ate ham, which technically is against Islamic rules. But we weren't aware. Which is technically our fault. We technically did that. We weren't aware of it. So in a way, I do know what you mean when it's not a sin to eat it. But if you don't turn around and say to someone you're religious, what religion you are, you're not going to know. Like, you can't tell if someone's religious unless they're wearing, something really religious. We have started our season absolutely fantastically. We've got 50 wins. We've got 50 wins now from 94 games. But it's like you can't tell. Like, you can't tell if you're from America. if you're from, oh my god, our first 4 games are Tottenham, Man United, and if you're from America, you can't tell an American man from a Brit and a Britishman apart. You can't tell from the. Well, you're gonna die, yeah. But also, that's where I wonder. That's what I wonder where that stuff comes from, though. When you see about people saying that, like, that food's banned in my culture, in my religion, I wonder where that's come from. If someone looks at me, they are not noticing I'm Muslim. But you're not going to, though. That's the thing. You're not going to. Like, religion is not something. Religion is not something that comes. Not something that shines out of you. It's like you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know. Like, for example, I said Merry Christmas to a person on stream on Thursday, on Wednesday, and a guy in my stream, he was from Bosnia, and I said Merry Christmas, and then the way they quite rudely commented, "Don't celebrate that shit," which you can't tell. You can't tell if someone's Christian, Islamic. We're not to disrupt other religions too. Yeah. Well, so this guy did, but as I said, every person interprets it differently. We've started a new season. 50 career wins. This could be my 51st in 95 games. That's the thing, though. Every religion has its interpretation. Every religion is interpreted differently by every single religion. I think it even says. Yeah, that's true. So I've met a guy who was in my friend's Discord server that was a bit like that. He was Islamic. He literally turned around and told me that he literally turned around and told me that I would be burnt at a stake. I would be chained to a tree if I was born in his country, because I'm not religious. But I think every religion has its bad people. Every religion has its bad person that thinks they're doing the right thing. Well, it ruins everyone's reputation. Let me think of a good example a second. So for example, we had a guy in my friend's Discord server. He basically told me the facts are Great Britain, the UK is only Birmingham and Luton Stadium. So basically, this guy believes that the UK only has 2 important places, Luton and Birmingham. And I suddenly realised he's talking about the 2 highest places for Islam in the UK, Luton and Birmingham, the 2 highest places in the UK for Islam. And the guy told me that, so I said, when he said Luton Stadium, so I said, "Oh, Kenilworth Road then." I said Kenilworth Road. He goes, "Never heard of it." I'm like, "Well, you just said Luton Stadium." I'm like, "Well." So this guy was from Syria, and he basically just believes everything he sees on the news. And yet he turned around and told me that the facts about the UK are Birmingham, Luton Stadium, and the Dead Queen. And I'm sat there like, what? This guy will be a terrorist. This guy will generally be a terrorist. This guy intercepted server, and I'm not taking the mick out of him for his beliefs. He generally will be a terrorist. He generally told us that he dreamt of killing Jews, and I'm like, I'm sat there like, and he basically told us he got arrested for wearing a Palestinian flag. I'm like, were you arrested for the flag, or were you arrested because you got some really warped beliefs? And I pissed him off. Yeah, that's 100%. So people like that are generally the reason why they get a bad rep. People like that are generally the reason they get the bad rep, because they interpret it as, you know, they are the most powerful. That's the thing. This guy actually was from the Middle East, and you know the Middle East is a religious war zone. But yeah, that's the thing. 100%. Like every religion has its people that basically think that religion means conquering the world. One of my favourite lines in Doctor Who is, "You don't have to conquer it; you just have to see it. You don't have to conquer the world; you just have to see it." So this guy turned around and said to me, it's sad. It is very sad. Like, my favourite quote in Doctor Who is he says, "You don't have to take over the universe, you just have to see it." And it's one of my favourite quotes. But every religion has its people that think that they're going to take over the world. Well, I don't think I'm one of those people though. I don't think anything is perfect. Manager on the brink. I'm not on the brink. Why am I on the brink? It's just popped up saying I'm on the brink. Yeah, it's from Doctor Who, but his quote there was a really thing. Like, King Charles of the UK, King Charles III, the King of the UK. He did his Christmas speech yesterday, and he mentioned all faiths. He meant and the people of all faiths. So he basically said, I offer you a very happy Christmas and a happy New Year. But he somehow found a way to say happy Christmas and to everybody of all faiths. And that's the thing. That's what every country needs to do. They need to mention all faiths. And you know, Charles is the and Charles is the head of Charles is the head of the Church of England. That should be a free kick. Well, yeah. So I think that's what the world needs. The world needs to see people that are on both sides, but there are people on all sides that think it's wrong. Like, whoever took over in Syria, the guy that took over in Syria, I can't pronounce his name. The guy that took over in Syria, he allowed Christians to hold mass for the first time in over a decade. There was people like the leader of Iran was saying that's wrong. They're not true Muslims for that. But that's what true religion is. That's what being true is, though. Allowing other religions to do their. That's why I think the UK and maybe not America, but that's why the UK is probably the greatest country in the world. Yeah, I think that's where the UK is probably the most. That's where the UK is the greatest country in the world. It's the only country in the world where every major religion is protected. And if anything happens in the UK religious wise, the government gets involved and puts a stop to it. Dwight McNeil is playing really well. No way. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But the only reason where it goes wrong is where you've got people that go to countries and don't understand the rules of that country. That's where it's wrong. The only the only place you have a problem on that regard is people that go to countries. Yeah. The only place where it goes wrong, in some countries you can get away with that stuff. So that's where it's wrong. Where it's wrong is you have people go from one country to another and they don't understand. It's like in the UK, for example, there's things that you can do in other countries that you can't do in the UK. Like in the UK, you can't drink on the tube. On the underground buses on the underground trains in the UK, you can't drink alcohol, but in some other countries you can. Like if you don't like what someone's wrote about your you can't discriminate, but you can criticize. The government becomes cops. Well, yeah, it's not about messing up the system. Some countries, some people don't understand the rules of that country. So like the UK, for example, there's things you can do in other countries that you can't do in the UK. It's the people who enforce them. Well, yeah, but in the UK, for example, there's rules that you can do. There's rules that you can do. Oh, just had a £120 million deal for him. There's rules in the UK that you can't. There's things in the UK that you can do in other countries, but you can't do in the UK. And people come in, do them, thinking that they can do them, but they can't. I'm trying to think of an example. That you can of something you can do in the UK, but you can't do in other places. But I'll be honest, I'm out of ideas. I'm out of things of what I. Okay, Barry and Drewsbury Hot and Die. Good. So we lost our first game this season, but we've won our second. Now we've got a game against Arsenal coming up. It was the USA of the world. Well, the USA's never been the world. The USA has always been a very strict country. The USA has always been a very strict country. The US is in the Western Hemisphere. The UK's... Yeah, the UK's in the West. The UK's not the Eastern Hemisphere, Swiss. The UK's the Western Hemisphere. Everything, cut Turkey. Draw a line through the centre of Turkey, yeah? Draw a line through the centre of Turkey. Everything there is on the west. Yeah, the UK's the west. Literally, the centre of the map. The centre of the map is the UK, but that's basically because we put the line there. The centre of the UK, the centre of the map, the centre of the world. Britain is the centre of the world on the map, but the Britain is the Western Hemisphere. The centre of the world is Britain because we drew the line there. Yeah, great. I thought the Americas was the Western Hemisphere. No, the Western Hemisphere. The Western Hemisphere is basically like this. The Northern Hemisphere is the United States, the UK, and everything at the top of the world. Southern is everything at the bottom. But the West is basically... The Western Hemisphere is basically everything from Europe. Which is why the UK is called the West. Which is why the rest of the world's called the West. Yeah. The Americas is the Western Hemisphere too. America is the Western Hemisphere too. But the Western Hemisphere is all of Europe. Oh, I've got to pick a team a minute. How many centre backs are we taking? Fucking my god. Right, here we go. Western Hemisphere. Here, the Western Hemisphere. The Western Hemisphere is this, Swiss. It's everything. It's everything. It's everything past England. So the United. I'm going to put it in my Discord server. Actually, I'm going to put an image in my Discord server for everybody who's on the stream, because it's a really hard image to see. Why can't I copy the image? Every time I try and copy it, every time I try and copy the image, it Can I just paste it now? No, that's I can post the stream. I can't post that image. No, just put. Yeah, the UK. So the UK is the Western Hemisphere. Russia, Asia is the Eastern Hemisphere. The UK is not the Western Hemisphere. It's not the Eastern Hemisphere. The UK is the Western Hemisphere. Always has been. Here, sovereign states in both hemispheres. Most of the UK lies in the Western Hemisphere because we drew the line. So half the UK is in the Western Hemisphere. Half the UK is in the Western Hemisphere. Half of it's in the Eastern Hemisphere. So we just say the Western Hemisphere. We say it's the Western Hemisphere because the UK is straight down the middle. Because we put the line there. Pardon me. The FIFA now gives you little challenges if you have the console edition ones. Yeah, so the UK is in both. Denmark is in the Eastern Hemisphere, but Greenland is in the UK is basically in the Western Hemisphere, but it's both. So Europe, Guernsey, Alderney, Guernsey, Sark, isn't it? England, mostly all of England. Basically most of England is there. All of Northern Ireland, all of Scotland, and all of Wales is in the Western Hemisphere. Mostly Spain, but entirely Iceland, Isle of Man, Jan Mayer, and Portugal, Ireland. They're all Western, but the UK is split down the middle. Please sign Hugo Ekitike for Everton. We don't need him. Ironically, Everton, we do have... So do you live in the Western Hemisphere? Yes, because England... Yes, because it's only a tiny bit of England that's in the Eastern Hemisphere. And it only exists, Swiss, because we drew the line there. Hello, someone says. Welcome to the stream. We're not going to buy Ekitike because we brought Trent Alexander-Arnold as a joke. We're not going to buy Ekitike. Although Ekitike did almost sign for Everton in January. Career improvement. The board has offered 100% carryover into next season. Cool. But we're doing all right at the moment, so I'm hoping that we can do well in the Europa League this year. We need some challenges this year. Good, we've won a game. Now we need to go and win another. (4-0 versus Leicester. Okay, we've won 4-0 versus Leicester. We got a game against Besiktas. Ooh, 1-1 draw. So our first Europa League game was a draw. We beat Villa in the cup. We beat Villa in the cup. So we don't know. Well, everything's a social construct. Like as I said, the East and Western Hemisphere thing is basically was a line drew straight down the UK. The line exists there because we put it there, which is why we're the centre of the world. We're the most important country in the world because we are the centre of the world. It's like Greenwich. You know when you see the industrial. You know when you see the time zones. You know when you see a thing saying the time zone and it says GMT. The reason it's called GMT and not PST, Paris Mean Time PMT, is because we won the war over what time it is. Everton Ajax. We got to beat Ajax. And we did 2-1. Good. That's our first game. I think that's our first Europa League win. No, we beat that team. So, we're on a nice little run at the moment where we have won. We're on a little run at the moment of having won 5 in a row. So, let's make it 6. Well, nationality and race is something different. No, race is different. Your race is humanity. Your race is basically what humanity. Ethnicity is something completely different. But if you say about your ethnicity doesn't exist. Ethnicity doesn't exist. Ethnicity doesn't exist because it's not. You're not Portuguese and Scottish. You're not Portuguese or Scottish. You're American because that's where you were born. Your ancestor may have been Portuguese and Spanish, but you are not, if you get what I mean. So, it makes me laugh, though. That makes me laugh when I hear Americans say that. America is the only country in the world that says, oh, I'm part Spanish, I'm part this, I'm part that. You're not. You're American. Your ancestor was, but you're not. That's the bit that makes me laugh. Red Lord, who watches the streams, said that. I'm Russian. I'm Russian, but I'm born in America. I said, so you're American? No, I'm Russian. I said, well, you're not. Your ancestor would have been Russian. Telling her my ancestor. Yeah. But most Americans, though, most Americans are a bit confused by that. But I think they forget that most Americans are initially from Europe. Right, I'm going to end this stream now, guys. But I'm going to end this stream in a minute. We are absolutely flying in this game. I've played 107 games as the manager of Everton. I've won 107. I've drew 59. Sorry, I've played 107. I've drew 59. Sorry, I've played 107. Well, she wasn't American. Yeah. Well, that's probably why then. Other people are confused. I think it's because most people, when they most people, she was Nepali and lives in the UK. Yeah, because most of those people though just say they're Nepalese. They don't understand the ethnicity because ethnicity is not a concept out there. Ethnicity is more, well, my grandparent was this, but I'm this. Whereas America's like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Whereas not many people anywhere else really care about the ethnicity. We've started this season well. 12 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. We currently sit 4th in the league. We finished 5th last season. We finished 5th. We got to we were meant to reach the round of 16. We didn't. Well, everyone's got to be open-minded. Last season we won 29, drew 9, lost 11. That's good. And then the season before we played 42. We won 18, drew 6, lost 18. That season we played 42, won 18, drew 16, lost 8. And last season we won 29, drew 9, lost 11. This season we have won 12, drew 2, lost 2. That's good. I will end this stream, guys. My throat is killing me. There might not be a stream tomorrow. There might be, guys. It's my birthday tomorrow, guys. So I don't know whether I'm going to stream. But I have no idea. It is my 23rd birthday tomorrow, guys. So I don't know whether I'll stream. So thank you, everybody, for watching this stream. And I will see you all in the next